and they take him up this big hill because they
All
ride
right,
him
if I
down
can
the
have
hill.
everyone
and to-
please stand, we'll do the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
Pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, Morgan Township meeting, July 23rd, 2019, 7 p.m. Have a roll call, please.
Mr. Updike?
Yes.
Mr. Brucker?
Yes.
Mr. Kolb?
Yes.
Okay, I'll entertain a motion to approve the minutes.
I'll make,
Two sets.
okay, I'll make a motion to approve the Morgan Township budget hearing minutes on July 9th, 2019, as written.
Second.
Mr. Brucker?
Yes.
Mr. Updike?
Yes.
Mr. Kolb?
Yes.
Motion approved.
I'll make a motion to approve the Morgan Township Board of Trustees meeting dated July 9th, 2019, as written.
Second?
Mr. Brucker?
Yes.
Mr. Kolb?
Yes.
Mr. Updike?
Yes.
Motion approved.
Okay, I'll entertain a motion to approve the warrants.
I'll make a motion to approve the payments from 7/10/2019 through 7/23/2019. Payment number 515-2019 through 550-2019, and warrant number 9353 through 9369 for a total of $40,259.31.
Second?
Mr. Brucker?
Yes.
Mr. Kolb?
Yes.
Mr. Updike?
Yes.
Motion approved.
All right, and at this time, do we have anyone from the audience that would like to speak or got anything they would like to bring up? If they do, up to the podium. And if not, Mr. Galloway.
All right, you have your packets. First, we'll do the Township Administration Report. So in your packet, you should have the final version of the cemetery rules and regulations. Rob and I made a quick correction this afternoon. You'll see page 3. It says 12 at the bottom of page 3 will be the changes in the revenue that Rob had asked for, and they are in there highlighted in bold.
Wait a minute, we start at page 9.
Yeah, I'm not really sure how that happened. I just noticed that when I was reading the bottom. Any idea, Rob?
No.
They're not part of the manual where it would be a separate section. So
So it would actually be page 11, which is page 3 in this packet?
yes.
Okay.
So I can change the numbers. That's not a big thing. I'm sorry, Tom. It's page number
12.
12.
Page
It's
12.
Page 4.
Okay, now I see it.
Yep. And with that being said, that is the corrections in the new fee schedule that Rob had asked for. I will make the corrections on the pages. I'm not sure why that came up with Jacobs doing that. Other than that, everything is final. Rob's reviewed it, and I think we're ready for approval tonight to adopt it. Okay, to adopt it, and then we will send it off to the state. It was due Friday, but we'll send it up if it's approved right away to the state, to the Department of Commerce.
There is one real quick thing is to make sure you guys know that each urn is $250 is the price through the week, $350 is on the weekends if we have to bury an urn, and that is per urn, and you could have 2 urns per site.
Okay.
It kind of says that, but just to make sure that everybody understands what it's saying.
So if it's 2 urns, is it $350 or is it $250 per urn?
No, it'd be $500. If you
Okay.
bury 2 urns at the same time, it'd be $500, $250 per urn,
And if you do it on the weekend,
Yeah.
it's 700.
$700.
If you're doing two, yeah.
If you're
If you
doing
do
2.
two, okay.
If you're just doing 1, it's $250 during the week, normal business hours, $350 on the weekends or after normal business hours. The same as with the $600 for an open and closing the grave through the week, or $800 on the weekends or after hours. And we're actually right about what most everybody else is. Some of them are more, some of them are maybe a little less, but the majority of them are more than what we are. So.
Okay.
Okay, I'll make a motion to approve the Morgan Township Cemetery rules and regulations with the page numbers being corrected.
I'll second that.
Mr. Updike?
Yes?
Mr. Brucker?
Yes.
Mr. Kolb?
Yes.
Motion approved.
Okay. As you've seen, my last 2 days of emails, we've lost internet and telephone service to the township, both buildings, the fire and here to the admin. Tom, I had heard earlier that Chris wasn't going to be here tonight, so I'm open for a workshop to see where we can go and fix this. Coming kind of not the most convenient of times when it's happened both days. So if you guys want to do a workshop with Chris, that's fine with me. We'll see where we
You
need
said
to go.
Tuesday works for you?
Next
Is
Tuesday works for
Tuesday
me.
good for everybody else? That way I've got a week to put it on the website, because it has to be a public meeting.
I'm good with that.
Okay. Next Tuesday, you want to make it 6?
6 would be fine.
Okay. All right, give a little background. We just switched providers to Spectrum from Cincinnati Bell because Cincinnati Bell was not giving us the speed that we were needing. And the way it was connected was Spectrum was the primary, and we're still under contract with Cincinnati Bell for a period of time, so we kept that as a backup. Basically, it was like an emergency generator. If the power goes off from Spectrum, Cincinnati Bell would pick up. The only problem is doesn't have a transfer switch like electric, where you have no interruption of service. You drop your call, then it goes to Cincinnati Bell. As soon as Spectrum comes back on, even if you're on a call with Cincinnati Bell, it's going to drop you off of Cincinnati Bell and put you back on Spectrum, again, interrupting your call. And this did this a couple of times yesterday, and then I think it did it once this afternoon. So what we have to do is figure out, one, is with Cincinnati Bell, we didn't have the speed, but we had reliability. Now we've got speed, but it doesn't sound like the reliability is what we thought. So we just need to kind of have a workshop and figure out what our next steps are.
I'd like to see if we could make it for another night. Tuesday is not good for me. Any other night, Tuesday or Wednesday, anything is fine, but
I thought
Tuesday's going to be...
Wednesdays was the night you couldn't.
Wednesday's church night,
Yeah.
and then Tuesday's a work night,
Okay.
so...
Monday night?
I'm out Wednesday, so Monday 29th. Monday the 29th.
If we can do it other than a Wednesday.
No,
Monday.
Monday night.
Oh, I thought you said Wednesday.
No, I'm out Wednesday too.
Oh, Monday's great.
So Monday the 29th?
Monday
All right.
29th.
Monday,
Yeah,
Good with
thanks.
Monday the
Perfect.
29th at 6. I'll put it on the
Perfect.
website.
website. It's open to the public. We'll be just discussing next steps for our phone and internet connection. Right.
Okay, that is all I have administrative-wise. I'll move to fire. First in the fire report is a motion for firefighter paramedic Joe Mormon, his 5-year anniversary effective 8/1 of 19 at $1.50 an hour raise to $19.10 an hour.
So moved.
Second.
Wait a minute. That's not the right date, is it?
That's
That-
his.
That's his anniversary date.
Right.
But it doesn't become effective until,
The next pay date.
yeah, which is, I didn't bring my calendar out
Yeah,
tonight.
we talked about that, and I just went back and put on his actual effective date.
So here's the calendar. What's the pay? August 1st is
So
a
we have a
Thursday.
pay period the
Monday.
5th and then the 19th.
Okay.
We
don't
just
have
got
that.
paid, so that was the 22nd and
Pay
then
period ends this Saturday,
the 27th.
so two weeks from Saturday.
Will be
The 10th.
10th.
Yes.
So it'll be
4,
effective.
7, 11. Yes, that's right.
So effective the 10th.
Yes, please.
Effective the 10th.
All right.
Okay.
I'll make a motion for firefighter paramedic Joe Mormon's 5-year anniversary effective August 10th, 2019 at $1.50 per hour raise, bringing him to a salary of $19.10 per hour.
Second.
Mr. Brucker?
Yes.
Mr. Kolb?
Yes.
Mr. Updike?
Yes.
Motion
Yes,
approved.
That's number 102, 2019.
102, thank you, Carol. Okay. And I have that, I made a correction on mine as well. Okay. Next is, this is not the nuclear detonation box.
Is this what we saw?
This is
Yes.
what you saw at Muscatatuck in Indiana.
This is the guy from Tennessee.
This is the guy from Tennessee. This is the plum case. This is the extended. We had been field testing it since, I guess, about a week after we saw him at Muscatatuck. Chief Griffith took it out to all our dead zones in the township. This one has 2 SIM cards in it, Verizon and AT&T, so he did both of them and did a Excel spreadsheet of the speed, the power of getting connectability, internet, phones, texts, everything like that. So we field tested it in some other areas, actually, and then I brought in here last week, and we actually hooked Connie's UAN computer up to it. So in the case of a natural or man-made disaster, a blizzard, snowstorm, floods, hurricane, tornadoes, whatever, and we lose all our internet or connectability, we can still use this, connect, and still run the township business, including payroll. Some of the questions that I asked as we went through this was the cost of the 2 SIM cards. Chief Griffith found that out today. They're $39.99 a month, and that is AC
They're
unlimited.
unlimited with no throttling, so if you used them every minute of every day for a month, they would not reduce the rate of data transfer.
So it's
for-
unlimited data, text, cell
And
phone,
phone.
and phone. If local towers go out because of a tornado, it'll still pick up the signal. You do not have to have the local tower. So these are 4 antennas for the Verizon card, and these are 4 different antennas for the AT&T card, or whatever SIM card you put in there.
Sounds like we got an answer.
Well, actually, this would run the township probably a lot quicker than I was so tempted yesterday to turn this on and get back on. So anyway, and then the AT&T has the first responder, the government under the Department of Homeland Security, there's FirstNet, which allows first responders to actually get priority on phone calls if there is an emergency and things like that. So in your packet, I'll explain, this is the extended version, the extended case, and in your packet you have 2 quotes. So this is a demo, and the demo you see is $5,900, and it has it has the connection of 2, comes with the kit, the charging cord to charge it on electric, and I'll talk about that here in a second as well, because you saw that, the solar blanket if we have no electricity at all, no generator. This is a demo, so it's less cost than the regular plum case extended would be, which would be $7,400 for that one. If you go to the second one, this is another option. This is the plum case tactical internet kit. This one is actually twice the speed. He told me yesterday it's twice the speed, has faster processors, and it has external external ports on it that you can plug in phone system, and you can actually hardwire all your phones here in the building, hardwire computers to it, as well as then running the wireless at the same time. You could literally have hardwire stuff in here, and then also your connectability via your phones and everything on wireless. So you can have the best of both worlds.
So is this both cell phones and would Vonage system work on it?
Well, if it's voice over internet protocol, it should.
Do what?
It's VoIP, so it should.
Okay.
Yeah, it would work everything that I'm under the assumption of, because we've tested it on our computers. We ran our TV over there that does all our training videos on it, and it ran that. It ran Connie's UAN computer. It runs pretty much everything in the township.
And I took it to almost every corner of the township. I spent about 5-6 hours testing it on a Friday to the furthest reaches. I mean, there were some places it's never going to go, the dead end of the wire is never going to get anything, but I measured speeds for both Verizon and AT&T and had some pretty impressive speeds, especially at the community center. It was like 56K, so if that's a natural rally point for aid. We have better internet there than you do from Vonage or Spectrum. It was faster. I tested it both ways. Also, station 142 had like 128, so blazing there. And up here it was like 70 something. So, I mean, plus any place remote in the township.
And when you use the 128, that reminds me, so it has 4 banks. So if you logged in, and I didn't turn it on tonight, but last meeting we actually had Brett and some other folks on it. If you log in now, because it's the demo, it says plumb case 1, 2, 3, 4 on your wireless. Every one of those comes up with 32 sign-ins. So you can have 32 people on each one of the 4, which ends up being 128 people can be on this at one time if you needed it to be.
And once you sign on, and as long as your device remembers it, you don't have to put the code back in.
Yep.
So it's automatic sign on. It's very intuitive to use, and it is configurable based on what kind of scenario you have.
If we went totally down, we could send our patients stuff on
We could send
the
safety
tablets
pad.
through this. If we had another tornado, or if you remember Hurricane Ike in '08, there's no power here for 7, 8 days.
What's the battery life on that?
It's pretty good. Actually, I've only had to charge it once since we've been here.
They say 24 hours continuous.
Yep.
I didn't put it to that test, but we've been beating on it and using it, and it's one charge. Plus the solar blanket if you use that.
Yep, so the solar blanket, you saw that as well at the tent. That thing is $540, and its solar charges it 24/7 when there's sun out and all that, which, you know, if the generators fail or we have no electricity at all, who, God forbid, if a tornado comes through here and takes even the generators out. That thing he was explaining to me, he said they've shot shotgun holes in it, cut pieces of it off, and it still charges. That's how rugged that thing is.
Well, we walked on it and everything else.
He walked on it and stepped all over it, yeah. And that's their cost to us is his cost at $540 for that. I think it's 4x4 solar blanket.
How old is that unit?
This unit here is about a year old. It's traveled around as demos, and then it comes around. So they sent us the demo on this one, and we've probably had at least 3 weeks demoing this one.
And is that the one that we would buy if we purchased it?
If we went with the plumb case, the first quote, the plumb case extended, we would buy this one because he said there's nothing wrong with this one other than a couple of scratches and dinks on the case. We would send this one back to have it reconfigured to come up as like Morgan Township 1, Morgan Township 2, 3, and 4. And all that. And then he removes his SIM cards, Chief gets it through the state contract and Verizon and AT&T, and then we insert ours in. This one doesn't have the phone ports on it to do hardwire. The other one does. The second quote is the
Did you say it's twice as fast?
It's twice as fast. The processor's on it's twice as fast and has a capability of hard wiring as well as the wireless.
And I think that's a value add, the ability to add phones and hardwire computers into it, to be honest. If you're
And-
going to get something that you want to be able to set up a command center, you need both, in my opinion.
300 feet radius, and we've actually pushed that. We've actually had connectability a little past the 300 foot locations with it so far.
So what would be the cost again? I know you said 7,200 if it wasn't a demo?
Oh, if it wasn't a demo for the extended 74, and then this is the demo at 59.
59.
The 74 is the same kit, brand new, no scratches, and then the tactical internet kit is the 90.
So basically, new to new would be $2,000 more for the double the.
Pretty much, yeah.
Okay,
Double the speed and capabilities.
right. I just wanted,
Yes.
Clarify that.
Oh, yeah, I see. New to the other one, yes.
Right.
Exactly. I got you now,
Yeah.
Tom. Yes. But I mean, Fairfield Township's looking at it because, again, you know, your government can be up and running if you lose anything in a storm.
can we get a grant or anything for this?
I'd have to look into one. Right now, it's not grant season.
I know, but I mean, could we get a grant?
What about the Butler Road grant that we get every year?
Well, we just got
We
that
got-
one.
just
We got
got that.
$500 from them, and it's going towards an inflatable
Okay.
boat. Their max, I think, is 1,000 on theirs. We could go for an AFG grant. Those come back out in September, but they're like for larger purchases like tankers and fire engines and things like that. I don't know at this small of a price that
We
they
could buy a
will.
truck and put it in.
We could buy a truck and put it in too, exactly. But yeah, some of the local grants just wouldn't support the cost of it versus what they spread out to all of the agencies, the townships, the cities, churches, nonprofits. Their Butler rules about, I think about 2,000 maximum. And then Captain Fawn's got another 500 from the old Hanover. Hanover had a grant of their own for years, and they still actually have that. And I
The
can't
old
think of it.
Hanover Life Squad
The
Incorporated.
old Hanover Life Squad Incorporated one, and he got 500 for them towards the inflatable boat that we're looking towards. So we've kind of got the two grants from Hanover and Butler Rule this year.
Did he give you a life expectancy of what these would roughly last?
AC, you're more of an IT guy than me. I did not ask that, but with the cradle points and all that, I don't know what the life
I mean,
expectancy.
the only thing you're looking at different is upgrading the CPU, or if you ever go 5G, that would be your only,
That was my question, is it 4 or 5?
it's 4G.
4 at the moment?
And to be honest, before we get 5G out of here, we'll all be probably retired.
Yeah,
I don't see 5G rolling to Morgan Township anytime soon.
What
And
I
4G
like
will
is
still work. I
all the
mean,
capabilities, because we could have an ice storm, shut us down. You could have anything here. You can set up a command post. You're up and going.
Does that have to be sent back periodically for maintenance or
Shouldn't.
calibration or anything like that?
shouldn't need anything unless, I think that's why it's in the tough case. I mean, the only thing that's really sensitive is the little CPU there.
AC, you might know this question because he told me it like I knew it and I didn't. The tactical internet kit, the bigger one, has priority queuing.
Yeah, priority queuing just lets you decide, it's what it says, it just allows you to designate one over the other. So if you wanted to say Verizon was more important and you were getting a stronger signal, it wouldn't spend time looking for AT&T. It just
Okay.
choose it out.
Chief, it says that circuits are activated under the customer's cellular contract. When you activate the circuit, well, that won't increase our current provider's fee.
No, because we'd just be
That's the
buying the
SIM
SIM
card that he was
cards.
talking
We would
about.
buy the SIM cards that were $39.99. That would be what we would purchase.
A monthly.
Okay.
Yep, that would be those.
Right.
And he suggested that, you leave the Verizon active and then you don't leave, and you leave the AT&T inactive until you have a storm or need it, and then call them up and activate it, so you're only paying for one SIM card.
Okay.
That's another option as well. Have two SIM cards in there, but only have one activated at all times. So that's another option. But again, AC talked to the reps today, and they're like, yep, that's state contract, unlimited, everything for $39.99 a month for the SIM cards.
And you can have up to 128 users?
128 users.
Wow.
Yep.
How many more can you have on the other one, since it'll do double the speed now? Is it the same?
The same number of people. It's
Just be able to
just
transfer
the
data
faster
quicker.
the data transferring and the speed of connectability and data transferring and downloading.
What's your recommendation?
Well, I didn't throw the new one in here because I really didn't see a need to buy a new one when this one's pretty efficient, and to me it doesn't have really much scratches on it. When you get to the two, you're looking at faster speeds, faster connectability, and then hardwiring computers and phones in here if we're hitting leveled. I guess if you take a look at Dayton and all those folks from the tornadoes on Memorial Day, they're still leveled, and I don't know if they have connection or interoperability in there to say, if it would happen in Morgan, we would just set this thing in the middle and connect all our phones to it and hardwire the phones into it, hardwire the computers with long cables, and we would be up functioning hardwire while we would still be across the street wireless using it from the box at a set position. That is the advantage there versus, I guess, the faster downloading of how much data we got to load. And again, I'm going to say either one will be sufficient because not just for the fire department, but for the whole township. And I think, I will tell you a quick story, and Penny was there. Actually, when we went to Hurricane Irene in Schoharie County, New York, the Catskills, they received floods there that were catastrophic to the point of their admin building lost all records, everything, to the point of they had to do payroll. They told the employees of that county, bring in the closest to the last paycheck stub you have, and we'll pay you off of that one. So if we lose internet or something like that, we have the capability of this to continue doing payroll, pay bills, and continue to have the township functioning as an overall township. So I think what I'm saying is this thing is not just fire department, this is for the overall operation of the entire township that we can keep running, which is a struggle for a lot of governments when they get hit with ice storms, snowstorms, tornadoes, whatever. They lose that everyday governmental operation to get back on their feet.
So what's the advantage of having both carriers? I mean, all that is an internet provider. So you could use that whether you have AT&T, Verizon, Sprint. If you could use it. So why would you want?
It reaches out to whoever at that moment after a disaster has the strongest signal, who has the strongest signal, and who is up and capable and running and has the strongest signal to pull to that one.
Right, but I see what he's saying is probably only having one card for day to day, and then if a disaster hits,
turn the other one on. So if for some unknown reason, Verizon's the strongest one there, some unknown reason after a catastrophic tornado, Verizon does not have connectability, well, my goal would be is if we know something like another Hurricane Ike or the derecho, which we actually are under a window of getting the derecho again on Sunday, we would quickly call and activate the other AT&T card just in that case.
So what do you do if both AT&T and Verizon's down? They're dead.
They're dead.
We're dead as well.
They have 4 for in cities, maybe one gets back sooner. That's why it has full capability for 4. So in a perfect world, you put T-Mobile and Sprint, but we don't have almost any Sprint reception out here or T-Mobile. So
right.
For us, those AT&T's added new towers, and you get AT&T a lot of places. But Verizon's got the most coverage by my tests.
Right. And so the difference in the size antennas are different, long range, short range, that reach further out, where there's signals further and further out to grab that signal. Once they grab it from a further out, it boasts the signal coming back in to give us the highest quality signal, even though it may be trying to reach cell towers down across the river in Kentucky or Indiana or wherever.
So are those wired in there, or do you pull them out and screw them onto something?
No, they're wired. They come in the back. They come through this thing here, and then they go underneath the cradle box here.
I see the 4 in the middle wired. Are the bottom ones wired, or the end ones wired too?
Yes.
Or they just pull out?
Yeah. Nope.
Okay.
They're all wired underneath this pocket here.
Okay.
And they all come into that central wire, and then they go underneath this box here. This is the battery, and this is the cradle point that does all of the action. And this is the battery here. So yeah, so each one, so if you split the box in half, like this is the AT&T's antennas, and this is all the different long range, short range antennas for the Verizon, per se. So that's why you see 8. There's 4 for each of the SIM cards in there. So anyway, I mean, again, getting back to your point, we can explore some grants. I just don't know. It's kind of fine line. It wouldn't be a Bureau of Workers' Comp grant, because those don't categorize for this. An AFG grant, but those are usually for larger purchases, and then the local grants here at the max about $1,000. Butler rules. So
It's like Task Force 1 or EMI looking at this too?
The federal government have them for the task forces. They're looking at them. They're looking at them as well. Like the USAR folks,
Right.
they don't have them, but they were looking at them in the 10 as well as us and a lot of other state and local folks. He just told me the other day they have AC, help me out here in the name. What's the local blood bank here?
Hawksworth.
Hawksworth has 9 of them in their vehicles. Oh, this will also travel and like a traveling modem too. So if you're driving through the township, it doesn't have to be at a stop fixed point. They use it to download all the results from their remote blood draws. They use it to send the remotes back to because they don't have service.
So which one's your recommendation?
AC, you would tell me more on the hardwiring of stuff because you're the IT guy in the hardwiring.
I think if you want to have full capability, and I always want to spend more money, but the more expensive one gives you more capability. If you decide you only want internet, then that one will suffice. But if you really want the ability to put computers in and have a full practice of business, that would the $9,400 one would be your best bet. Because you can plug into that, and you can also put a hub in and plug even more phones and computers into it. It's expandable out, not just the 2 hubs.
My thought on this, for what it's worth, is go with the $5,900 demo. This is new technology. Like any other technology, it's going to change in 3 years. Once we prove that it works and it meets our needs, then we can look at upgrading to another. Instead of putting all our eggs in one basket and it doesn't work, then we're out 10,000. At least 5,900 is still a lot of money, but I think we'll be able to not only demo it like you have for the last 3 weeks, but basically put it through its paces, and then like in 4 or 5 years, we can pursue if it works.
Sure.
Because I'm sure the technology, it's like you buy a laptop or a computer.
Absolutely.
5 years, it could be state of the art. In 5 years, it's still not going to be worth a hoot.
Yep. I'm good with that.
That's just
Quick question, if you had to do emergency command center out here, could you do it in that box?
You could, it'd be all wireless. It would be wireless.
You wouldn't be able to use her computer or
No, she would be able to use her computer wireless.
data and stuff like that, wouldn't she?
Yes.
Wireless.
Wireless. She wouldn't be able to hardwire into it. It'd be wireless.
Going along with Tom's thing, is there a buyback? So if you do 3 years, it's got to leave, will they buy?
Oh, I'm sure. Because that's a good question, Chris, but because basically the difference in the new to the demo model, they're willing to work on that to the point of, I believe, just talking to the gentleman both at the exercise and then the amount of times I've talked on the phone, I'm sure there would be a buyback upgrade because you're buying the same product, you're just upgrading what you have. So I'm sure there would be, yes. Good question.
Can we clarify which fund this is going to be paid from?
It would be 211, fire levy, fire fund.
Okay.
And then I'll leave that up to you because, with equipment and supply, they're so vague in the state's
I'll
definition
go back
of what
and look at
equipment-
definitions, but I think it's going to be small tools and minor equipment.
Small tools and minor equipment.
in road department.
Let me ask
I
you
had
a
to do
question.
that, Rob. I'm sorry.
Jeff,
Yes.
is this Jeff Griffith? If we have a power outage and you need to run stuff from an ambulance into the hospital, do you need wireless or you gonna need the hard wires to run that?
I can do it wireless.
Even if power out and everything else?
Yeah, I can do that. I can run the tablets wireless and hit that and send it. I can do that wireless. You just won't be able to do anything you would possibly need that you would need to have a plug-in, a wired connection, i.e. a dumb computer would not work without being able to plug it in. So if you have any computer needs or printers or anything that doesn't have a Wi-Fi connection, you would need the better one.
Then we have to have a way to power it.
You would have
Yes.
to log in the tablet on the disk to then send it.
Okay.
They're doing traveling
Dodge.
But most times
So we-
today, we send it from, today, we actually sent the EKG from the house where there was internet in the township.
Okay.
If we lose internet in the township and we're running medical calls, we gotta chug this thing along with us to still get that connectability to send, because
Yeah.
calls won't stop in a disaster. In
No,
fact,
it'll have to-
they
it'll-
increase
it'll have to
ninefold.
go.
It would have to travel with us to download to the hospitals, so.
Do the
we-
other, just a quick question, do the other fire units have this around the town, the
New,
county?
it's new technology. A lot of the ones that were out at Muscatatuck are looking at, like Fairfield Township's looking at, Oxford's looking at it. Oxford Police are actually looking at the highest scale model that actually also is on satellite. We do not need satellite because that's a real expense. So there are some other ones that have seen it and at the exercise and are looking into it, the same thing. So right now we're the only ones demoing it, but there is discussion on other ones to get it to, just for that keeping government functioning in the case of a disaster.
So do we have to purchase the solar blanket? Would you add another $540 to the $5,900 quote?
I
or-
would just buy that out of my budget, normal. I wouldn't even add that to the quote. I would just have a separate one and do that out of my budget, because it's under $1,000. I would just purchase that direct.
What do you guys think?
I'm gonna ask the technical guru, which one would you suggest? Is more expensive?
I mean, everybody has a good point here. Tom has a good point. It's new technology. You know, in a perfect world, if there was a money tree out there, I would get the better one for continuity of business, continuity of business. But if there's reservations about the cost, then that one would be just fine. But just remember, anything, phones, computers that are not Wi-Fi capable will be basically useless during that time. So if you have anything that you need to plug in, it will not work.
Something you mentioned too, that one's a year old, so it's a year-old technology?
No. No, it's brand new technology. It's been traveling around for, I would say a year. I don't really know that. It could be 6 months, but it's the newest technology. It's just this kit as a demo is going around the country being a demo, brought back. Somebody's interested, he sends it back out again. The
You got one of
technology
these
is all brand new. And with that,
They have one of these that are in a demo?
no.
Try.
Well, not that I'm aware of. I guess I could ask him. I don't know that. I guess I could ask him that. I very well could ask him that and find out.
Can I ask a question? Is the payment of this going to be out of fire department budget? Do you have the money to pay for even the better one with no problems?
Right now, yes.
To me, that's a no-brainer.
I just see it as new technology, and it's going to get better, and we're not going to use it every day. Not saying that new one or the more functional, or has the one that has more functionality isn't the way to go, but
I think so.
just
I guess my definition of this would be it's another insurance policy. It's an insurance policy. If we get hit, we have that continuity of government. We have a backup versus other folks won't. And they lose connectability in government. They don't. So at anything, even at the demo model at 5900, we basically are buying ourselves an insurance policy that we know we can keep up and running in a case.
how
of
long
any
can you keep
emergency.
the demo before you have to make a decision?
He's pretty easy to work with. We can keep it.
Why
probably
don't
another-
why don't you find out,
Yeah.
one, how old it is?
Yep.
Two,
If there's a demo on the other one.
yeah, if there is a demo on the $9,400 one, and
Buyback.
3, see if they have, yeah, buyback, thank you.
Buyback, yep.
Your mind's thinking like mine, my tongue just doesn't get it out.
Okay, and the other one is called TIK. Okay, I can do that. Absolutely. Age of demo. Okay, I can do that.
All right.
And we'll come back at the next meeting with those answers. Okay, perfect. Before AC goes to his things, I just have one executive session tonight, and it's a personal matter. And other than that, that's all I have for tonight.
All right.
AC, it's
Okay.
yours.
Run report, June 2018 versus June 2019, up 50, by my UC math, up 53 runs for the year. So we're on a pace to actually break 500, which we've never done. EMS is up significantly, but I just saw the billing report, payments are down. We've done, for the second quarter, real quick, we did 33 more EMS runs, but we netted 1,000 less than last year. So reimbursements continue to trend down, even from private insurance now. They're all getting on the bandwagon, but there's nothing we can do about it. We get what we get and go on. Continue to check the runs. They did miss one last quarter, and it's resolved now, but they made comment that we're one of the few departments that actually make sure our runs are equal to our payments. They couldn't believe I caught it, but every run counts and every bit of reimbursement counts. So our reconciliation is perfect on that, but we try to get what we can get, but it is down. No real trends.
Just to give you a background, AC checks it every month. When I get the check, I give him a copy. He audits to make sure everything is there, because we caught wind that was something that the auditors down the road are going to be looking for. So we've been doing that for the past almost year now.
Yeah.
Actually, I think we went all the way back to the beginning of 2018 and
We
did
did.
it. So, and you know, it's a testament to how well he keeps records that, you know, he can catch when they do miss one.
And they did, and I was like, it's like finding a prize. You know, where's Waldo? But we found it, and we got it resolved, and now they can bill it. So we continue to do that. We check it both front end and back end to make sure it resolves and equals. And then on money, also, unless there's questions about that, we were awarded. It used to be called the seatbelt grant. This EMS grant is from basically seatbelt fines for the whole state for a year. And they have some really weird formula based on your number of runs, number of ALS runs, your yearly budget. But ours came out to $2,993. So we were awarded that last month from the state of Ohio EMS. So we'll try to spend that quickly so Connie's accounting doesn't get out of whack. There's only certain things you can get it for. And we'll either use it, we'll find something to use it for. If Chief wants to get the tactical vests and helmets, that is allowable. I called the state, that is allowable under that. So we could put it towards that, or triage, or there's certain things, but we'll get it spent.
Yeah, just so we have it spent before, and the money returned by December 31st.
We'll do. And that's all I have, unless you have anything to me.
Thanks, sir. All right, Mr. Brown.
It's yours. We'll share.
Okay, first off, the very first thing I'm gonna bring up is not on my report. It's something I'd actually forgot to put on there, but it is very important. I got a phone call from Kist Electric, who is the company that installed the generator for the Township building here. Got the phone call from them. They was asking for a second chance at our service work and taking care of our generators. We had stopped using them because of some issues of not getting called back and stuff, but they've made some changes. And especially after our last incident where we had to call for emergency service and we got billed drive time from Lima down here, and it made, the drive time was almost as much as the service call itself. Well, that being said, in the pitch that was given to me on what they plan to do, and you know, they really want our business back. They feel that they're neighbors, and they are in the township here. They did install the unit. I told them that I'd be willing to give them a second chance. I talked with Chief about it. Chief left that up to me. So we're going to try Kist Electric again on maintaining our generators. With that being said, the service for this year is already done. So when it comes time next year for service, on the very first service, they're going to do free of charge. Just changing oil, filters, that sort of stuff. Now, if they get in there and there's a battery that's bad, or a fuel pump is bad or whatever, obviously we have to pay for the parts, but the initial service is free, and that's about $300 per unit for the larger units. I think like $185 or $200 for the small unit down at the community center. With the computer that's on the one for the township here that lets us know when the generator it sends you an email when the generator runs, when it's not running, when there's electric outage and stuff. The reason that is not working is the service lapsed on that. We only had a 3-year service and we did not renew it. With that being said, we can get that service back for 1 year, but then in about 6 months, he's saying that there's a new service, the same thing coming out, that's instead of 2G is going to be 4G, so it'll give you faster stuff, and it's all about the same money. It'll use Wi-Fi instead of a cell service, because basically that's a cell phone that's out there on that generator, and it would use our Wi-Fi through the township to send all that stuff, which would be more reliable and all this stuff. And it's he told me the price, but I forgot to write that down, but it's pretty comparable, like $60 a year or something like that. But I'll get that in writing from them and stuff.
Now, is this the information you'd get on a self-diagnosis when that generator started each Monday morning, or whatever
Yes,
the schedule you're
It
on?
would tell you that the generator started in a test mode. It would send an email to my email, which I get my emails across my phone, but it would send you an email saying the generator started. When it shuts off, it'd send you another email saying the generator is now stopped running, back in sleep mode or whatever what they call, until something else happens. But it notifies you every time that generator does a function, whether it's just a test function starting and stopping, or whether it's the power went out. It says you've had a power failure, the generator started running, and then it'll also email you that the power has come back on, the generator has stopped running. And then it'll also, if there's some sort of trouble, like say a battery goes weak, it'll email you low battery. Or it'll email you generator failed to start. It took too long cranking and wouldn't start. It'll email you and tell you that. Now I can go out on the generator right now and get that same information off the side, but I have to go out there and push the button to read all that. But this thing it emails you all that, so you know basically in the
Instantly.
palm of your hand what it's doing. So.
Instantly. So you know if it didn't start on Monday morning for a test.
Correct. Which, by the way, it did start this morning at 8:45. It started and ran for 20 minutes.
Okay.
And you got that information on your cell phone?
No, it's service
No, I
isn't
just-
working. And we don't have that service.
We don't have the service right now. It needs to be renewed, but he's saying to wait 6 months, and the new technology will be out where it uses Wi-Fi. But if you want it back up and running now, you can do that. But he's saying wait 6 months until the new technology is out and up and going, because that was his recommendation. That way you can use the Wi-Fi from the building instead of a cell service, and it'll be cheaper than what that's out there now. It'll actually be cheaper. The new upgraded service will be cheaper than what there is now because you're using your Wi-Fi instead of, basically you're paying for a separate cell phone there.
Did he say what it would cost?
I can't remember, but I do know it was about half of what we're paying right now. So
And Rob, did he say that's 2G?
2G right
Well,
now.
that's why you're not getting them, because everybody's gotten rid of 2G except Verizon. They've all turned their 2G off. That's part of the reason we're having a problem with the safety pad is the modems use 2G. So it would be pointless to use 2G technology.
They say readdress it when it comes out.
Yeah, but he said that it'll be at least 6 months before that's available to do, so.
Is that
So
something he
just-
can do?
He can do that once it comes in.
Okay.
And the other thing just to note is KISS Electric went and hired a mechanic just to work on generators. Because before it was just Mr. Kist and his son Jeff kind of did it themselves and stuff. Well, he went and hired a man just to work on generators, to do all the service work, to do troubleshooting, you have any issues, to help with the installation. But they went and hired this guy just for that, and you know, they're right in our back door, so give them a try again. And
Do they do offer 24-hour
yes, and
emergency
I
service?
have their,
Any
the-
kind of, like, will they respond within 4 hours, or is there any?
well,
did he give you
I'm
any-
hoping they'll respond quicker
Well,
than
I'm just
that, being
saying,
in
did
our
he give you
township.
any time? They could be out on another job too. You don't.
Well, I mean, he said that he would get to us just as quickly as possible, but he is available 24/7. I've got the mechanic's cell phone number. I've got Jeff's cell phone number that I can call either one of them 24 hours a day if we have any issues. Because I did ask that. I said, what if we have the generator won't start at 3:30 in the morning and we got an ice storm going? I said, will you come get it started if we can't get it started? He goes, yes, here's my cell phone number, you call me.
Because that's when it happens. At the
Yeah.
most impromptu time.
Exactly.
It starts at 3 o'clock in the morning in a storm or whatever. That's when it happens.
So
Okay.
I will get you the price of the
new service?
new service that uses Wi-Fi, which he said is about half of what we was paying, and I can't remember what that was, but
Yeah.
he said it'd be cheaper than what we had, so.
Just bring it back up when it's available in 6 months, or if it comes in sooner, that'd be fine. Okay.
Okay, first on my list here, we put in a new culvert on Howard's Creek at 4485. Not even 12 hours after we finished the job, we had a very big heavy rain that filled that whole area up with water, and it drained it all off within like half an hour. There's still little puddles, but not the big puddle of water that was sitting there, so. So we've got that done. We finished mowing all the roadsides for the second time, but we are still trimming trees. With that note, all of yous, I believe, got the incident report that I sent you for our mishap on Northwind Road. All that has been repaired and back up and going. And we're going to put in the culvert on Lehigh Road tomorrow. This is a small one. It was a 24-inch pipe, metal pipe that was bad. That's the one we're putting in tomorrow. The county is working on the box culvert up by the intersection that is 3.5 by 6 by 22 foot long right now. They're working on getting a design and all that to put a new one in. And that's the one that last meeting we passed a resolution to spend up to $35,000 if we need to, but we're trying to make sure that that stays well below that, but we can go that much.
Was that cable unusually low? Because I've looked at cables all day along the roadsides, and those cables are all pretty well up. Does your boom go up?
The
at least
majority of
20
them
feet?
are pretty high, or 15 to 20 feet in the air. This one here was only about 10 foot in the air, and our mower goes up about 15 feet in the air. The wire that we hit was only about 10 foot up in the air. And it kind of drooped down from one pole to the other, and where it drooped down, it came back up through the trees and that's what made the problem, is it came back up through the trees, and when Steve made the first pass, he didn't really see it when he made the first pass. He backed up to make the second one. He thought he was clear of the tree because he couldn't see it because it was drooped behind the mower, and so he goes in a little bit more to cut a big branch, and that's when it come up, and he just,
I'm thinking, why isn't it on Cincinnati Bell to maintain their fiber optic cable to make sure it's at the right level? When we're responsible for mowing trees at a 10-foot level, I was almost thinking maybe it's part of their responsibility here.
well, in speaking with the insurance adjuster, that is something that's going to be brought up to Cincinnati Bell, is because all along North Wind Road, Cincinnati Bell's lines are in the trees, which these trees are right by the edge of the road. They're hanging out in the road. We're trimming them back. I mean, it's just, to me, it was an accident, but it was an accident that was hard to avoid when we're trying to trim trees back so people can see to get up and down the road. And then you got a black cable back in the, and
That's
the
not the
exact
only
same
place
thing.
they're that low either.
Right. I mean, most places that they're really high and you don't have to worry about them. But for some reason along that road, they're a lot lower, and they droop a lot more.
I'm not sure what line it is, but on Robinson, right across from Loggergan Nursery, on the other side of the street from Loggergan, I mean, it's lucky to be 8 foot off the ground, if that. I mean, it drops like this. I don't know what it is. It's a pretty good
Well,
sized line.
on Jenkins Road where my mother lives, if it wasn't for the tree holding it up, it'd probably be almost on the ground.
So
Because I can't get a semi or nothing in that one.
So,
that is something that will be addressed with Cincinnati Bell, according to the insurance adjuster.
Yeah, this is covered. I talked to Carrie that day right away, and she said, yes, you absolutely are covered. She said you would be surprised at how often this happens.
No, I wouldn't.
Well,
And Rob, kudos to the concrete in Joe's driveway. It looks very good. I'm sure he's very happy.
Well, he won't see it till Friday. He left town, so, because I told him that we didn't want him driving on it for 3 or 4 days, so he took a mini vacation so we could do that. So we poured that at 8 o'clock this morning, and
Yeah.
so got that all done up. The driveway on Race Lane Road, that he paid for it last year, but he wanted us to wait. So we worked the schedule out to where we'd do it today. He left on vacation yesterday. We got it all cleaned out, formed up and stuff yesterday afternoon, and poured it at 8 o'clock this morning. So that's all done. So and that's all I have.
Fine,
but
thank
did you get any more information, I guess, on the one that I sent you down at Cincinnati Brookville and Buell, the culvert that the gentleman was saying was eroded out?
Yes, most of that's on private property.
It is all on private property, okay.
There is some out along the roadway that we're going to clean out later this summer. That's the roadside ditch. It's not really silted in. It's just a bunch of grasses. I don't know what type of grass it is, but it grows real well in the water, and it gets real thick and just kind of dams it up like. We're going to scoop that all out again. About
Okay.
every 2 or 3 years, that section we have to clean out. Well, he just moved there about a year ago, and he says, well, there was a bunch of stuff said. I'm not going to go to all the details, but basically, once you get off the road right away, that's his issue, not ours.
Okay.
Fine.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Marshall.
Okay. Up on my list.
did you hit the record?
First
And
is-
we were recording.
Well, last trustees meeting, I had you sign 2 letters concerning noxious weeds. One of them was Cincinnati Brookville, the other one was 2853 Bell Road. And I'm going to show you a picture of 2853 Bell Road, just to let you know exactly what we're looking at here. You cannot see the house, okay? I mean, it's gotten to the point where it's doing. I do need to send a second letter. I'm just going to be asking for your approval tonight for me to go ahead and send it with my signature on it. I will be willing to do that, and get the second letter out so that we can get this mowed.
Is anybody living there?
Yes, it is being lived in. I drove by it personally one evening. A light was on in the house. There are 3 vehicles. One of them seems to move occasionally, and everything else. My wife and I, we discussed whether or not it would be something that I might see to have a welfare check done on because of the way the building, the way the grounds are, in terms of, is there anyone living in it? Or if they are they?
You said this was Bell Road?
This is
Yeah,
Bell
Bell
Road. It's 2853 Bell
Yeah.
Road.
You had any runs to that address?
The house does not look familiar to me, no.
Well, how can it look familiar when you can't see it? That's
Well,
not,
yeah, but I mean, the whole yard and all.
yeah.
Does that have the driveway on that side?
It's on the left side. It's on this side over here, because I'm going up Bell Road from Millville Shannon when I took the
So it's on the
picture.
left
Oh,
side.
we were there. Yeah, yes, we were there.
Is that where the old Ivies used to live?
I've been there twice.
Yes.
I've been there 3 times.
And I will have you know, I filed is that the house that's 2 up on the, that's the one?
Oh, with the gentleman? Okay,
Coming up from
probably have then.
second on the left, Dale? Coming up there?
Yeah, but
From
you've got
Millville
you've got
Shannon.
all of the trucking company
Yes.
there, and then
Okay.
and it's the very
I
next
stink. Okay,
house.
so we have,
Yeah.
We
I
have been
thought
there,
that looked
on the
we
left.
have been there.
and as
That's
history,
the-
I have
Where
filed,
the kid was, right?
I filed paperwork with Adult Protective Services on condition.
Right.
I also filed paperwork with Children's Protective Services. Adult Protective Services is not required to give you follow-up. Children's Protective Services are, and I got a letter back saying no finding.
That surprised me.
Well, if you saw the inside of that house, you would be, but I had a due diligence, I had,
With Butler County's Children's Services.
yeah, I had due diligence to file on both based on the conditions of the inside of the home this year.
Okay.
So all I ask is just your approval, and I'll go ahead and send out the second letter with my signature on it
I'm good with it.
to
I'm good
follow up.
with
Then after that, it's going to be, we're going to have to go in and probably mow it. So we'll be looking on those costs too, and I'll be trying to get a contractor.
So does, what's in between what you see there and the house, the whole yard looks like that?
What you see there, okay?
That goes all the way to the front yard,
Goes
to the
all the
front
way
door?
all the way to the porch.
Wow.
See if I can zoom it in there. You can see, you can't even see the steps of the porch, okay? And that's
The
the
only way
front,
you can get to the house is on the side.
on the side of the
Where
road,
the
which I didn't
driveway
take a
is.
picture of.
And the only
I
reason
should
you
have.
can get into that door is it's,
That's where he
Dirt
needs the,
driveway.
the flying thing, the
Drone.
drone.
Yeah, I mean, because this was the first picture I took, and then the other one was the second one, a little further down the road. I should have taken one at the driveway too, just to do it, but I didn't, and everything else. But it is the most concerning of the 2 that we have right now to worry about.
Can we get the extension office involved in this? 'Cause that
I'll
was
check
one of-
into
That
it.
was one of our options available in all
Okay,
that
I'll check into
documentation
it.
we received.
Yes.
I actually have that.
You got this, Dale, or do you need it?
What? Oh, that's out of the,
Yeah.
okay, I'll copy it and give it back to you. All
Okay.
right.
Thank you.
I didn't know whether you were going to bring up the sidewalks in Shandon.
If you want to touch it, go for it. I'll add to it and we'll be done with it.
Okay, all right. Well, this is the sidewalk in particular. It is in front of 4270, I believe it is, something like that, Shandon. And everything else, and it is in, Brett has been working very hard with this person to find out whether or not it's the township who will repair this or whether it is the resident. Through several, we've been working on this about a month, and getting Mary Ann's answer to this. We received an email today from Mary Ann Nardiella, in which she has stated that that the sidewalk, well, it was stated at one time that the sidewalk was not within the right-of-way, but it is within the right-of-way, we figure, of State Route 126 there. And
Well, that's one thing we don't know
No,
for sure.
we don't know for sure, but
If it's in the right of way or
she's-
not in the
right.
right of way, which I believe Rob is meeting with the state guy. Is that tomorrow?
Tomorrow.
okay.
So that's another question he's
So,
gonna ask
so
them.
that we'll have that answer going there.
But I know what his answer is gonna be. As far as the state's concerned, rip them out. They've said that before. The sidewalk in Okeana that goes between the gas station and the post office, state of Ohio wants that ripped out. They're not responsible for it. They don't want to be responsible for it.
Okay, and then also, just to add to that, Connie has also been looking up information. We had to go back and look in the minutes back from 90, or 86,
86.
Yeah.
When you say rip 'em,
87 and 88.
who would be responsible to rip those out? Would the state do it, or would it be on us?
According to everything I found so far that I've looked up, the homeowners or whoever owns the property is responsible for the repair or that. That's why I went to Mary Ann Nardiella to confirm what I've said. I also talked to Mike Mosler. One thing he said is if they do repair the sidewalk, even though it's the homeowners, it has to meet the county specs, because that way you don't have a 2-foot sidewalk here, the next one over is a 4-foot sidewalk, or whatever. So it has to be uniform within a spec, but it's also the homeowner's responsibility. But I'm trying to get everything in writing for Mrs. Henderson, which has taken a while. Trying to find all this was back previous trustees when I believe Mr. Copeland,
It was Mr. Westridge and Mr. Dilhoff.
and Mr. Dilhoff. So it's taken a little bit to find everything. Also talked to the gentleman from the land bank. I can't think of his name.
Desmond?
Desmond Miata.
Yes, and he said all that was filed in boxes underneath the courthouse, and he says we'd probably never find it. But I also talked to Scott Bressler. He's supposed to be sending me a name and a number to try to get the plans of when that was put in. So I will be working on
It was put
that.
in 87, I think, is what we figured out.
I
We
think
get a
so,
block grant for
87,
16,500.
Yes.
It's applied in 86,
Yeah, but I think it went in 87, if I
right there at the end of
remember.
87, right at the beginning of 88.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yep, as
So
far as
that's
we
where
can
we're
tell.
at on that.
And that was a grant to replace what was already there.
That's what you've told me.
That's what I've been told by a previous fiscal officer.
But I don't think it was in the minutes that way either.
It was
so
not in the
that's
minutes that way.
One thing, once she copies all them, we're gonna scan them. I'll probably send them to you and me both. You can go
Okay.
ahead and send those to Mary Ann.
Sure.
Well, I know all the old sidewalk, what they dug out of there is, I could take and show you where it was all dumped, so.
Okay. Anything else you got on this one, Sam?
No, other than I spoke with our zoning lawyer in terms of that, just as a quick question, which he didn't necessarily charge me on the phone for, about this. I said, who is responsible for sidewalks once they're placed in? And I gave him the scenario, and he said the resident, most likely.
So once I get everything in writing, I will get that
Yeah,
back to her.
Yeah, so once we get it in writing, we can do that. All right. Any other questions on this? I think that pretty well covers what we were going to do on it anyway.
Good.
too. I attended the Butler County Fair last night to work the Butler County Township Association booth along with the auditors. We stayed until about 6 o'clock. The auditor shut it down on us really sooner than he did last year, okay? Didn't have much of a participation. But the one thing I have to comment about that is, I mean, the auditor sits over there and is giving out cups, he's giving out pencils, plus and everything. And all we did was sit over there and give out the BECO roadmaps and a little pamphlet and some candy. I'd like to see if we could get the Township Association to perhaps maybe buy something that we could give out in that, to make it a little bit more, I mean, not us as a township buy it, but
By name, but all the townships.
townships, you know, that might, you know, even if it were a cup that had all the township names listed on it, or the BCTA listed on it, I just think it would be a little bit more inviting, presentable and everything else. Otherwise, I sat there with the 3 trustees from Riley, okay, because you guys were unable to really get there, which is okay and everything. At least Morgan Township was represented, so, but it just doesn't bode well. I mean, the auditor, he would get people in because he had the cups and the pencils, and he had free water and everything else. So it was something, if we could bring it up maybe at the September BCTA meeting, to have something in the booth from the BCTA. Other than that, I mean, there's a beautiful poster that was hanging back behind Denny that shows all of the townships and stuff, but the information on it's now outdated. Because I know our population is more than 5,500. At least that's what it says on the thing.
On
and I
Morgan
don't-
Township?
Yeah,
And I
No,
say it's really close.
no, it's not,
really?
yeah.
Okay.
Because I have to do that in a report at the end of the year, and it's
I thought
right
it
at
was
that.
more,
Yeah,
Yeah, my opinion.
I do it on the grant, and I use 5,500.
5,500,
I'm
okay.
gonna say that's in the
Well, that must be
ballpark.
about right then. So that's just my comment, my thoughts on that. And I will be out of the office Thursday. I'm going to be attending the Ohio State Fair representing Morgan Township for the Ohio Township Association. And I will be a presenter of awards for home design, meaning I'm just giving out the ribbon and saying congratulations to the person who's won the award. I'm not judging the home design, thank goodness. And I'm doing this basically to promote Morgan Township around the state, okay? And the last thing on my list is new copies of the Morgan Township zoning regulation will be ready for distribution to the trustees, the commission, and the Board of Appeals by the August 13th trustees meeting. The entire regulation, I hope, will I get it up to Tom, that I want to do is to, I'm going to be putting it into a PDF format and putting it up onto the Google Drive. And I'll let you, and give you, share accessibility so that you can push it over, and let's make it a linkable piece on our website. And then I'll also be sending getting a copy to Zeb Acuff, so it'll be on the Butler County site like it is currently.
Let me know when it's ready.
Yeah.
Let me know when it's ready.
And if
Why
you,
don't we wait on the hard copies until we get totally done?
well, that's why it's waiting until September.
You think
Because
we'll
I'm
be
not
totally done by then?
Oh, totally done until the,
Totally revamp it?
revision? No, because I'll have to put out a new copy. Well, I'll only be putting out, the way I'm setting it up is, you know, you'll only be able to change out paper, one page for another page on any of the changes that, or an article. If we've rewritten a whole article, I'll hand you, you're getting a notebook that's divided into all of the sections necessary and everything else, and you'll see that next Tuesday, the next trustees meeting.
Can I
Okay.
make a suggestion? Maybe we'll think about, why don't we just do on the internet where we can read it now, but once we get totally done, then you just do a whole new book and we're done with it, instead of doing part, and part.
Well, the way I was setting it up is that we would never have to really do a whole book ever again.
Okay.
he's
Okay.
doing it in a binder.
I'm doing it in a binder.
With
Okay.
So I
tabs
get
instead of
with
having it
tabs.
rebound every
Take it in and
time.
out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's-
Switch,
it-
all right.
And besides, it's saving us some money. It really is, because the printing is being donated, okay? By me, basically. Not really, but through me, it's being donated. Because the additions you're going to have are, I have kind of livened it up a little bit. I can show you an example of, let me get that out of the way, of what it actually looks like. If I can get a good example of, oh, wouldn't you know, I'd have to go over and do that. I'm going to pick Article 7, basically, because I think these are the ones that we've absolutely revised, okay? and everything else, so you can see that. I'll take that off and go down into, let's go out of this toolbar. And I'm going to go to print mode on this so you can see it a little better. No, you can't, really, actually. So as I scroll down through here, you're going to see there's a little bit of color right there at the bottom on the footer, okay? But the biggest thing that you're going to see is when you come to a table, you're going to see a color in the table. It may not show here on the screen. It doesn't show very well. It shows better on this screen, I think, than it does on that screen. It's very light green. It still allows for it to be printed black and white if it's needed to be. So if someone came in and wanted a hard copy, I'd say, okay, well, it'll take me a day or two, but I can print it off and it'll still read and everything. But I've reformatted a lot of it in terms of making sure that things fall within the same area. We've renumbered. It's just a lot of things that I've personally done that make things clearer and easier to find in terms of the whole thing.
What are you guesstimating with the binder and the printing?
Well, the binders cost me $38.
For how many?
For 15. That covers the U.S. trustees, giving one to Connie, one to Chief, and then the 5 commissioners and the 5 BZA people, okay? And everything else. That was $38. Then I did another, what was it, 32 for the tabs. And then the most cost is the 3-hole punch paper that we're using. It's total to about $150, $60, I think, right about now, if I'm not mistaken, but maybe roughly that.
And that'll get us, what, 14?
15 copies.
15 volumes?
Right.
I
15
spent, when you asked me to have copies made, I did 10, and it was, I think it was $115 for 10, but if any changes would have to be
You gotta
made, you have
rebound
to
it.
do a whole new book,
Book.
where Dale has fixed it, so we only have to change whatever has been
Whatever the
revised.
change is.
Right.
Yeah.
If a resident comes in and wants to purchase one, what did you charge them?
What would I charge them? I haven't figured that out yet, but
But it will,
it'll be a little bit more than everything else because it will have to be printed out, but it will be
Could we
printed out
offer
in
it?
black and white.
could we offer it on a flash stick? A
Sure.
flash stick is like $3,
Yeah, because I mean, it's going to be in a PDF file.
right?
Right.
And this
Say-
is all
Well, we can
online
email it
too,
to them
right?
as well.
It will be online.
Yeah. we
And
can-
if we have
we
it
can
on our
reference-
website, they can
we
just
can
get it
off the
themselves.
website, or
Exactly.
or you can
Yeah.
email it to them.
Right, but if someone
just trying to
absolutely,
keep
absolutely
from-
wants one, you know,
Yeah. So I don't want somebody to come in and it's going to be, $18 for a copy. That's kind of high.
yeah, no, it wouldn't
Do
be
it
that
for-
high, but it would be reasonable to want it. But it'd just be easier for future commission administrator to
Okay.
be able to make the changes. And I thought very long and hard about all of this, and I do end up saving a little bit of money in the long run getting them printed. So,
Okay.
okay,
Good job, Dale.
thank you. Otherwise, I don't have anything for an executive session or anything else like that.
Okay, let
I'm all
me
done.
switch this back over.
Okay.
All right, Ms. Reinhardt.
Okay. Behind my report, you have the 2 bids that I have received for our propane pre-purchase for September 1st, 19 through April 30th of 2020. I've received 2 bids. Feral Gas had contacted me back in February or March and wanted to know when our renewal was and everything. And so he sent me a bid. Their price is $1.569 per gallon. It's a fixed price that won't change until we've used all that up and all that. This would, if we went with them, it would require all the tanks being removed that we currently have, which means Premier would have to empty them. And then they would, of course, give us a credit for the propane that they remove. They're estimating it would cost about $1,800 for them to do that. But Premier's bid, which is a company that we have used ever since I became fiscal officer in 16, and I know it was before that, their price is only 1.349 per gallon. So they're almost 30 cents cheaper, 20 cents cheaper to start with, and we wouldn't have the extra $1,800 fee. Plus, we would need to buy new regulators to go onto the generator and everything else because those regulators belong to Premier also. So I'm asking for,
It looks like if we top them off in the summer, we can get it for $1.17.
but I think they're all full.
Are they all full? Okay.
I think so.
I was just,
Yeah, I
Yeah,
know.
it looked like-
And we could
looked
have
like a
them
deal.
check. Yeah, we could have them check. But I think they're all full. But I can ask Jeff to have them check and make sure that they are and have them
Okay.
topped off before that. So I'm just asking for a decision from you as to which company we want to go with so that I can let these two companies know.
I think Premier looks good
Well,
to me.
I mean, why would we change when it's
Right,
going to cost us
exactly.
more
It's going
money?
to cost us to change tanks.
Yeah,
We've been happy with them.
yes. I mean, they do an
And the
awesome
price is
job.
cheaper.
And the
So, I
price
mean,
is cheaper.
it's a no-brainer.
Well, that's kind of what I thought, but
Coin and pennies phrase. No-brainer.
All right, do they want us to go ahead and do the pre-purchase, and how much were we doing that for?
I don't know that yet because they didn't figure that out until I let them know that we were going to go with that company.
All right,
So I'll have that by the next
Need a
meeting.
motion?
If you would give me a motion, yes, for which
Okay.
company, and then I'll have it on record.
I'll make a motion to enter into pre-purchase program with Premier Energy for the period September 1st, 2019 through April 30th, 2020
Second.
for our fuel,
Okay.
propane.
Mr. Brucker,
Yes.
Mr. Kolb,
Yes.
Mr. Updike.
yes.
Motion approved. I'm going to skip number 2 and come back to that since that one may take a little longer. I was just curious as to why the meeting videos haven't been uploaded to the website since the new AV
I
equipment was installed.
I have not gotten the SD cards, so I will get them tonight and they will be up tonight.
Okay,
Plus, he was on vacation, he wasn't here.
okay, because I thought Chris had said that we wouldn't even, there was a way to do it without the SD cards and it would not be as big a process.
Oh, the SD cards, simple.
Okay.
But there might be a way, I'll find out. But
Okay,
I will get them. I did not get those when I got back.
okay. I just was curious and I
There's
put
a
it in there.
live recording, but we haven't started it yet,
Okay, all right.
which puts it on right then and there.
Okay. I turned the 2020 budget into the Butler County Auditor last Tuesday on the 16th. And I did receive a response from Crystal Jones, who is an Assistant Chief Auditor with the Auditor of State working in the Southwest Regional Office. She indicated that the auditor would not be extending the contract with Perry and Associates. This year, their contract is up. So she said when it comes time to do the 19 and 20 audits, they would not be renewing or extending their contract. And she's looking into resolving the issue with our audit costs because of the problems that we had. So I did get a response from someone,
Well, good.
okay?
We already paid that, right?
We haven't paid this one. We
Oh, we
paid
haven't
it 2
paid that.
years ago. We
That's
have
what I'm
not
trying to
been billed
remember.
yet for this one, and that's what she's looking into because we haven't received the
The
bill
other one
yet.
was 6,000, wasn't it?
I budgeted 6,000. I think when I looked last time, the cost was 3,400. I
Oh,
think is
okay.
what we paid, but I
guess I was
budgeted
looking at the
6.
budget.
Yeah, I budgeted 6 just to be on the safe side.
Depends on how long they come for and how big the audit is.
Yeah, so I don't know. And then the other thing, then the big thing is the Section 125 premium only plan for our health insurance. Basically what this is you can elect to have your insurance payments for the health insurance taken out as pre-tax dollars, which lowers your tax amount that you would pay on like federal, state. It would also lower your local income tax, which in our case would be the income for the schools. The ones that are in income tax, which was what Ross is the income tax. And like I said, you elect to do it. Brett asked me to check, and I have checked. It does not affect your OPERS amount that you have earned, but it does affect if you're getting Social Security. So I personally would waive out. I do not want to do this.
Is it all or none?
No,
Or is
it
it
is not all
individual?
or none. It's an individual, and there is a form for you can either elect to do it or to opt out, to waive out.
So basically, we could go ahead and approve this, but that doesn't mean anyone would do it. They would have the choice to do it whether they
We're
wanted to or
offering it
not.
to everybody that has health insurance.
That
It's
is
an
correct.
individual decision.
It's an individual decision,
Okay.
but there will be a little extra paperwork on my part to keep it implemented and to keep everything done. And if you want more time to look it over, we can always put it off for another month. We can do this at any time. Because it's quite lengthy to look at. Rob, do you have any feel for what your guys would want to do?
Without talking to him. I'm not gonna say anything for
Okay.
him without talking to him.
Okay.
Well, even if we done it, it's not something they have to do. They would have the choice to do it.
I mean, I'm all in favor of it. It saves me a few bucks, but it still pays everything, because I'm doing, what is it I'm doing before tax dollars right now?
Deferred compensation.
Couldn't remember that, but
Well, we can approve it, and like I said, it's an individual decision. At least it's available for them, and if they don't want it, fine. If they do, I mean, we can give them each a packet, right? To let
Yeah,
them
I would
look
give
at it.
each one of a packet. There is a form that would have to be signed, and I would need it back by August 1st.
Okay.
If they wanted to go in right away.
I have to have the form back regardless by August 1st.
So we have to make a decision tonight. Otherwise, they're not going to have much time to look at the packet.
If you want it to go in August 1st, which is what the forms that Frank has, yours I'll say July 1st. Frank
Okay.
redid them for me to say August 1st.
Okay, so August 1st is this packet, but you can do it at any month.
Yeah.
At the beginning of any month, right? Is that what you're saying?
No,
If they don't sign it by August 1st, do they have September 1st?
no.
No, okay.
I have to have the paperwork back by,
Then we have to make a decision tonight.
you have to make it, if you decide you want it to start August 1st, then.
We have to
yeah,
make a
then-
decision to make it available to them.
Yes.
So they get the packet to look over.
Yes.
So they can get the paper back to you by August 1st.
Yes.
Okay. You need a motion?
Yeah, we need, let's see. We need a motion. How does he have this worded? We need an emotion to adopt the Section 125 premium-only plan, like this right here.
All right.
And then I need that resolution read.
All right. Now,
You
I'll
need
make
that-
the motion first.
Make the motion first and
All right.
then do the resolution.
I'll make a motion for Morgan Township to adopt IRC Section 125 premium-only plan, make it available to employees that have health insurance with the township.
Second.
Mr. Brucker?
Yes.
Mr. Kolb?
Yes.
Mr. Updike?
Yes.
Motion approved.
All right, and then I read the resolution.
Yes.
Morgan Township and Butler County Resolution, IRC Section 125, Premium Only Plan. Whereas Morgan Township and Butler County has determined that it would be in the best interest of its employees to adopt a Section 125 Premium Only Plan, allowing for pre-tax medical benefit coverage, so-called, be it known that a vote was taken and all were in favor. Resolved that Morgan Township and Butler County adopted a so-called Section 125 premium-only plan, all in accordance with the specifications annexed hereto, and be it known that Morgan Township and Butler County premium-only plan document was executed August 1st, 2019. Resolved further that the company undertake all actions necessary to implement and administer such plan. In witness whereof, I have executed my name for the above named entity. That would be probably you.
Me or Brett?
Okay. All right.
You need a second. Second.
Mr. Brucker?
Yes.
Mr. Updike?
Yes.
Mr. Kolb?
Yes.
Motion approved.
Me,
She said you or her.
right here.
You're the witness. That's the
Yeah,
witness.
you-
You would put your name and print it. Right?
Okay.
And then you witness it.
And just a reminder that we have 3 weeks until the next meeting, so I will probably have to have you come in and sign the warrants, because I won't be able to make it till the 13th of August. There'll be some things that are due before that. Thank you.
You got anything else, Tommy?
No.
I only have two things tonight, and they both concern the Historic Society, of which we're fortunate enough to have one of the directors with us in the audience tonight, but it's concerning the flagpole. I got word through the directors that they were looking to try to get a light onto the flagpole to help illuminate that during the dark hours of the day, and also to take a look at the front door to see if it could use another repainting. So I just wanted to bring that before the board to see if there is any ideas or solutions. The light could be shown from the side of the building, or it could be shown from the ground level straight up. So any thoughts on that? It would be a good opening to discuss.
There is already conduit from the edge of the from the flagpole side of the driveway up underneath all the pavers. There is a conduit that's already there to put a light at the base of the pole to shine up.
Did they run any wire
No.
through that?
Just
Okay.
put the conduit in.
Well, that's a positive thing, and then,
There's also another option I've seen. It's a round disc that's solar, and it's up at the
Yes.
top of the pole, and it shines down.
it's
On the
not very
flag,
bright.
and it's solar?
Not very
It's not very
bright,
bright.
They
though.
said that, I talked to Neil Westridge Saturday at the Historical Society meeting, and he said that they do have solar now, and it's just not
Not bright,
not
okay.
bright enough.
Are they asking us to pay for this? Is that why it's being brought before the board?
Well, I know we've maintained the exterior of the building for upkeep and repair, and now if that would fall into that category, or is there another category? Is that anything on the exterior? I think we would be under the agreement to support that, but
There's nothing
you
in
may
the
have a little
agreement
more
that
history than
states.
I do.
There's nothing in the agreement that states who's responsible for
Ex-
anything,
For exterior?
for
I didn't-
For
anything.
the whole thing.
Well, Jill passed along a contract or an agreement about a year ago, and I didn't have a chance to look through it, but she said that was the agreement that was made between the township and the Historic Society. So maybe we can just review that, and if there's nothing there, fine, and if there is there, so be it. I'd be glad to bring it back up again
Just
once
a
we have a
quick
little
note,
more.
and everybody needs to think about this, is for 2 years, we've talked about repainting the whole outside, because it has not been painted
Right.
since the building was redone.
Plus, there's windows that still need maintenance too, if I'm not mistaken.
I think we're all right on the windows for now. I mean, it was told to us that there's a couple more windows that need to have some stuff done to it, but I think if the building is repainted, we would be all right on that for now. But I had got a price for about $10,000 of this, like a
The
rhino
rhino,
shield type painting. That pretty much scared everybody off. I mean, that, they give you a 25-year warranty on that rhino lighting, and they'll do the different colors around the window sills and the gutters, because they look the same, but they're just a shade bit different color. They would do all that. When they spray it, it would still give the same texture as what is there now, the same as the way it was brushed. And again, that's a 25-year warranty they give on it. The only thing that, if there was a spot where there's a soft spot in the wood, they would circle that in a picture and say that that spot's not covered if that goes bad. That is the only drawback to doing that. Now, a regular price, about $3,500, is what I'd got to just repaint it with. That's having a painting contractor to paint it. Just
And the whole
for
thing has
information.
come down to is the money. That's been the issue for a while because the money here's gotten very tight.
I can tell you, there's not $10,000 in the budget anywhere.
Well, I know we talked about a self-help project to paint that, and I think there was possibly some opposition maybe against that, but we'll probably have to find some type of a solution.
I don't think there was anything against it, I just don't think it was ever pursued even farther.
Whichever way you go paint-wise, there is some partner. We did a restoration over in Anderson, and it was actually like for that wood to keep the old wood there. It's like a resin epoxy mixture that you kind of brush on. I can try to find it at our shop and drop it off where, but if you go to latex paint and it's still soft, you still want to probably make it better before you paint it, either way you paint it. So.
Is that pre the new paint, or?
Yeah, it would scrape it off and clean it up, and then you put this, there's actually some filler and then also an epoxy resin type stuff that you put on. You kind of paint on.
Okay.
And that has to be done fairly quick, if I'm not mistaken.
I think so, but it soaks into that existing old wood and then solidifies and makes it harder. So
Okay.
if there is some rot in there, you clean all this stuff out, fire brush, that kind of thing, and then put that stuff in there.
And that, you say that went on a historical building?
Yeah, over in Anderson,
'Cause
right
I-
off of 5 Mile, right on the corner, I think it's 5 Mile and, I can't remember that name, but I can try to find that name too, but, the building there.
Because if I remember right, and I don't know all the stipulations, there's only certain things you can do when they're historically registered
Right.
of what you can do and how you can do it.
This stuff was approved because it was the Anderson Township guy was there constantly. I mean, like, even the spindles, we had to reuse the spindles, we found a shop in, off of, over by St. Rita's, but like they actually,
Duplicate?
well, we found a place that duplicates some, but we took most of them to a place that dipped them in a Roger Rabbit type stuff that when you brought them back out, most of the paint was dissolved off of it. You can hit it with a light sanding and then put it back, and then
Huh.
it was the original spindle, just now you can paint it. So, I'm pretty sure this stuff was approved too, but I might even have some left over at the house where I can bring it in, at least, show you guys where if you do paint it, put that stuff on your board.
Thanks, Chris.
So is there any grants the History Society could write to do paint of the building? Anybody know?
Jill is the one that asked that.
Yeah, I already said.
That's all I've got.
Did you want to ask her if there's any grants or anything she knows of?
Yeah.
Look at moving forward. So is there electric already where the conduit goes to, they can be hooked up to?
There's no electric, none whatsoever.
No
I
way.
asked the guy to come
Well, I
out
meant
and give me
whoever, where does the other end of the conduit go? Into the building?
no, it just goes into the driveway.
Does it go up into?
Underneath the pavers to the edge of the driveway and
Oh,
stops.
so it's just,
It
So it's not
doesn't-
even
it
connected to
doesn't
the
go
building?
anywhere, no.
No.
They just put it underneath the pavers to the light pole. So there's a conduit that goes under the pavers to the light pole, so you don't have to dig up pavers.
this is when the Boy Scout did the,
Because the
Eagle
reason I
Scout
asked,
project.
that would be easy to run, I could do that, but if it's not into the building,
Yeah, there's nothing over to the building.
Well, how far away is that? Is it, that's just like 6 foot between the pavers and the building, isn't it? That was real, what I remember is very close.
No, it's more than that.
It's more like 10
Oh,
or
the
15
pavers around the pole.
Yeah, that's like 10 or 15 feet. Well,
No.
the sidewalk comes out the little driveway, and the driveway's 8 or 10 feet wide, and you got another 4 or 5 feet to the building, and that's just to the side of the building, but to where there's electric on the outside of the building, you'd probably have to go at a diagonal, go around the building over by the condenser back there to pick up electric. And then we also gotta remember, there's a water line that goes right between the flagpole and the township building.
Well, that water line would be
And that's
30
that's
inches
a
deep, but is it
Southwest Regional water line that's got a right of way through there.
like the main? Is it
Yes.
kind of like? Well, you know, the electric line wouldn't be any deeper than a foot or at most.
we allowed to cross it though? Since they got a
I'll
right, of way, I
say-
didn't know if we were
I
allowed
think
to
it's supposed to be 18 inches minimum, ain't it?
for electric, yeah.
For electric?
Yeah,
Yeah, minimum.
The water line should be 36 inches deep.
42 technically,
Should be.
Should
For-
be.
42.
Should be, and what is two different things, that's All right. I can look at that, but that's, I know where's the electrical panel in it? The breaker
By
box.
the condenser.
Back
the
left
AC
corner?
On the back corner, by the back door, on the opposite side of the building where you want it. That's what
What
electric.
size
panel-
conduit is it?
Half-inch.
That's gonna
It's
be
a
hard to
small-
pull, that's gonna
because
be hard to pull.
you would be running 12
gauge?
gauge wire.
I mean, it is small conduit. That's what they're putting in.
For
But
one line, you'd be fine.
you could do a 12 gauge Romax.
Is that that round cable?
But it's a covered cable. Or you could just run 2 strands of 12 grade.
Even though you're in condo, you still have to put underground
Right. Has to
Right,
be
I know that.
some-
electric cable in there. So
Right, yeah.
Still gotta be direct buried.
The Romax has a cover over it.
All right.
That's what's ran in the
Anything
house.
That's it.
Mr. Brocker?
I received a email on our contact us page about a concerned resident, her neighbor at 7027 South Dwyer is got the oldest daughter living in a camper, not a mobile home, a camper. And she said there's no facilities in it or anything like that. And they're also burning garbage down by the creek. So I told her that I would bring this up and we would pass it on to Dale and we'll investigate.
Dale was aware of it. That's why I asked her to start it through you.
Okay.
Okay?
All right.
She was also supposed to have done one to the chief through the fire contact piece. Did she do that, chief?
I've not seen it. What was the address again?
7027
Yes, 7027.
7027.
South
Right.
Dwyer.
Yeah. Yeah, she called me on Monday, I think it was, and we talked about that, and I listened very heavily on it and everything else too. She's also, from my understanding of her conversation, being harassed by them as well, because they're neighbors, right? Next door neighbors. Okay, you know where we're at?
I know exactly where you're at.
Okay, at this point, we'll leave names out of it, okay?
I will tell you, I live behind that, and I do see trash being burned. And I do drive by there at least twice a day, and I do see somebody living in a camper.
Okay,
I can verify that.
Okay.
And that is not something new, that has been going
right.
on a long time.
Since I've been focused on a couple of other things, I need to get in and dig out. We do have a zoning regulation around that too, in terms of using a camper as a dwelling. So I've got to dig that up, and we'll begin that, and I'll prep a letter on that part of it, but the rest of it is really more trustees oriented, but I'll be glad to work with you on getting it done.
Okay. Any updates on Mr. Trader's property on Bell?
Nothing more
There is
on-
somebody living in the house
Yeah, there's
now.
somebody living in the house, but there's nothing I could do about it or we could do about it at this point in time. I need to get back in touch with Mary Ann Nardiello on where we're going with it. I want to send her a picture. I would like to really sit down with her, but she tends to not want to meet in the office and everything. So, yes, Trader is still on my mind, okay?
Yeah, the garage is just
Slowly going. The heavier the rains, the
Yep.
more it goes. Right. Also, I'd like, just on a second thought, I've had a lot of comments on the Lehigh swimming pool that was in the front yard.
Yep.
I would like for
Fence
you to
around it.
notice, if you drive by it, they have put up a 4-foot fence to hide it, and I think they've done an excellent job
It's
on
higher
it.
than 4 foot.
Well, I told them they could stay within the 4 to,
Yeah, that's it.
it looks
It
really
looks
good,
really
doesn't
nice.
it?
Landscape and stuff out.
I think the way they got the post that high, they're gonna put some lattice work around the
Right,
top of that.
right, which will make
Looks
it
like-
look really nice and everything else. And I hope that kind of quells all the comments about why did I allow that zoning, them to put that pool there in the front. And, because I speak to it all the time, is that they couldn't have put it in their backyard. One, because their septic was on the left side, and two, on the right side of the backyard, there was an electric wire coming over top that would have been over the pool. And then the side yard has a well with a well cap in it. Okay, so this was the only place to do it. They stayed within the front yard setbacks.
It looks nice.
It looks
They did a
really nice.
job.
And they are going to be putting a lean-to on the side of it, but I think I'm going to have to convince them they're going to have to come to BZA in order to get it and everything too. So they work very well with me. They pretty much listen to what I've asked them to do and have done it because they want to live here in Morgan Township and
Right.
make it look good. But besides,
And
they have
took a-
remodeled
took
that
a-
entire
Yeah,
house.
they took a eyesore house and made it,
Right,
nice,
yes,
so.
right.
okay, that's all I got.
All right, we already covered the Shandon issue. Also, I believe it was either the 14th or the 15th. It was the 15th? I had a call from Ed Bossy, which is part of the Ross School Board. Basically, called and asked if the township would be willing to pay money to do a conservation officer for the school.
Resource.
A resource officer, you're correct, I said the wrong thing. Resource officer, which kind of threw me for a loop. Maybe I was a little frank with him, but consider that Scott Gates and them came here and did a public thing and said that this levy that they just passed was to pay for part of this. I was a little upset that he called. So the next day, I called Scott Gates, superintendent. I guess Ed Bosey wasn't supposed to come to us and ask yet, but he did. Then Scott also told me that, yes, they were talking about it. They wanted to get their figures together. They were supposed to have a school board meeting, which I'm not sure if that was Tuesday or Wednesday night.
It was last week.
It was last week, and they wanted to figure out how many students were out in Morgan Township, how many students were in Ross Township, and wanted to do a percentage of asking us to pay for this, which I think that's totally wrong because that's a school issue, that is not a township issue. But I have not heard back from him. I did talk to Tom Wiltsey as well. And I guess when they ran their police levy in Ross the first time, they presented it with the school and they paid 50-50 because they were using Ross's police officer. Now the school is paying 75% of that officer's salary. Ross is paying 25%, which makes sense to me because for 3 months out of the year, he's a police officer for Ross. For 9 months out of the year, He's a police officer in a school, so the school's paying for the officer, they're just paying the other 25% when the time they have it. But from what I understand, the school board is wanting like 3 more officers. So I have not heard back from him, but after what he said here,
Yeah.
I was kind of livid.
Yeah, he clearly stated, because somebody questioned him, I think it was, who was it? I can't remember her, the mother.
Linda Roberts?
Linda
Roberts.
Roberts.
Yeah, she questioned him about, what's this gonna pay for? Is this gonna pay for AstroTurf on the stadium? You know, if it's then, he was adamant about, nope, that's coming out of another budget. This will, put a resource officer in each school. And the levy did pass, so.
And we don't have any extra funds to be putting towards this.
No, and what Ross's comes out of that police levy, it actually does that. That's not even out of their budget, so it's a total different, it's a special levy that pays for that. And I think that's all I've got for tonight, other than going executive. Anything, got anything else?
Nope, nothing else.
So I'll make a motion at 8:52 to go to executive session.
Second.
For personnel reasons.
Mr. Updike?
Yes?
Mr. Kolb?
Yes.
Mr. Brucker?
Yes.
Motion approved.
Tape off.
Yeah, I'll order 2 of those tomorrow. They seem pretty reasonable, 2 of them, 3 of them.
We're still not done.
What's he want?
All right, 9:26, make a motion to come out of executive session?
Second.
Mr. Updike?
Yes?
Mr. Brucker?
Yes.
Mr. Kolb?
Yes.
We are back in session.
Okay,
Want a motion
We
to
weren't-
adjourn?
anything
No.
mentioned on that? Okay, entertain a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second?
Mr. Brucker?
Yes.
Mr. Kolb?
Yes.
Mr. Updike?
Yes.
We are adjourned.